Let's call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Present.
Councilmember Ruano.
Present.
Councilmember Collazo.
Present.
Councilmember Dieguez.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez is present. He's participating remotely.
I just heard that.
Vice Mayor Rodriguez is not here. Mayor Sid.
Present.
Mayor, you have the quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's all rise for the prayer led by Councilman Luis Collazo.
Thank you, Mayor. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to come here today. Please provide us wisdom. Please provide us patience and guide us through this process as we deliberate in the best interest of our residents. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Order of business, deferrals, additions, deletions.
Move the order of business.
Mr. Manager, the order of business.
Yeah, there's going to be one notification. Just I have the ability to move some money around. The mayor and I have been speaking about traveling to Tallahassee during committee weeks, and obviously because of the budget, there was no travel budget for administration, but I do have the ability to move it. So I think, less than $500, let's just say. We haven't made the reservations yet for me to travel with the mayor, and I'm just notifying you that I'm going to be moving that within my budget, no extra money, but just within my budget to be able to travel with the mayor to Tallahassee for committee weeks later this month.
So we'll add that as a report. Is there adding the manager's report? There was already a motion to adopt the order of business. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. We're on to public comments. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Welcome, Dave.
Good morning. Morning, David Bennett, 15830 Northwest 83rd Place, right here in stormy Miami Lakes. Okay. The bridge problem we've had since well before this time. Back in 2012 is when we addressed the problem, at least I addressed the problem specifically. Now, the issue that we have with the bridge, of course, is we do have an agreement with Hialeah, but we don't have an agreement with the DOT. Okay? That agreement that we had with Hialeah, would give us certain rights and privileges, but it doesn't apply to the DOT. That was one of the issues that we tried to bring up in 2012 so that we would have some control over our destiny. This all started with the 87th Avenue fiasco of the previous administration that opened up that area, that made that bridge far more important, both for Hialeah and Miami Lakes. That's our issue. Now, what can we do about it? Okay. In 2012, one of the things that was suggested was if we're going to be inconvenienced with traffic, well beyond what concurrency allows, we have to do something to ameliorate that. And the only way we can do that is to do some traffic control. Traffic control has to be done in three phases. Phase one, no large trucks in the town of Miami Lakes during rush hour traffic. There's only a certain number of linear feet that we can accommodate, and we can't have 18-wheelers coming through here. You need to immediately prevent that. Second, we need to find some way of restricting flow, and the only way we can do that would be some type of toll mechanism, in which case somebody not from the town of Miami Lakes, who wishes to cross into Miami Lakes to get to the Palmetto Expressway or I-75 or anything else, should just be able to pay a toll, just like the 123rd Street Causeway. Pay $1 each way. There's no reason why we can't do that on our land, on our roads that we control. We've got to do something, otherwise it's going to be a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. This is not all your fault. I'm not saying this is previous administrations that allowed this to happen. You guys just inherited a steaming pile, all right? I'm hoping that you'll at least address some of these today and to say why you can or cannot do this. I understand that you can, and I don't see a reason why you cannot. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Regular public comments is closed. I know we have a remote public comment. Welcome. Yvonne, whenever you're ready.
Well, I really don't know where to start, but I'm really concerned about the opening of both 154 and 170 and what the town will become. But I really don't know, what we can do other than what we have tried already. But I'm really concerned about what the traffic will look, how it will affect who we are, as a town and our lives. So I don't know. We need to continue trying to avoid that to happen, and in case that it happens, like find solutions, as the previous presenter said. So that's all I can tell. But definitely, it's really sad.
Thank you, Yvonne. Have a great day, and thank you for participating remotely. Thank you very much. Any other remote public comments, Madam Clerk?
No. Don, no more remote public comments? No.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're on to the attorney. Yeah, there are no appointments, no committee reports, no consent calendar, no ordinances first reading, no public hearings on ordinances in second reading, no resolutions, and now we're on to 14A, which is new business. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have Mr. Raul Gastesi. He is in Europe, and he's going to be appearing on my phone, so we're going to try to do this. I'm going to put my microphone to the phone so that he can discuss. He's got a presentation for you.
Lorenzo, am I being heard?
I think you are, sir. Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to appear. I'm on vacation, but I really thought this was important. So I requested that the mayor have this special call because of the actions of Miami-Dade County insofar as Northwest 170th Street is concerned. As you know, we initiated the dispute resolution procedures based on Miami-Dade County's threat to violate the road transfer agreement. Miami-Dade County has made it clear that despite the initiation of the dispute resolution procedures, that they will not cease the building out and construction of Northwest 170th Street through the town from I-75. We have attempted to have them keep the status quo in many conversations leading up to the dispute resolution, all to no avail. I attempted to set a mediation conference and get a solution, and they told me that they could not do that for nearly 2 months. They're trying to run out the clock. In fact, just yesterday, construction was started, including excavation and defacement of town property within town limits on town property. This conduct will not cease. The dispute resolution process will last several or more months. Florida Statute Section 164.1041, subsection 2 provides that if a governmental entity finds that an immediate danger to the health, safety, or welfare of the public requires immediate action, or that significant legal rights will be compromised if a court proceeding does not take place before the provisions of the Dispute Resolution Act are complied with, we can proceed with litigation. I certainly believe that the health, safety, and welfare and the town's significant legal rights as set forth in the road transfer agreement will be affected if we have to wait for the dispute resolution process to take its normal course. The dispute resolution process will take months before we could institute litigation, but the county has made it known that they believe they will be done with the construction in 30 to 60 days. They and others will continue to violate the road transfer agreement. Obviously, we cannot wait that long. In fact, not only is it imminent, but excavation and defacement has already begun. As such, in order to be able to commence immediate litigation, and obtain an injunction and damages, this body, by 3/4 majority, must find that an immediate danger to the health, safety, or welfare of the public requires immediate action, or that significant legal rights will be compromised if a court proceeding does not take place before the provisions of the Dispute Resolution Act are complied with. If you believe that is the case, we will need a motion that states, because I believe, and Gina, hopefully you got what I previously sent to you, but because I believe that an immediate danger to the safety or welfare of the public requires immediate action, or that significant legal rights will be compromised if a court proceeding does not take place before the provisions of the Dispute Resolution Act are complied with, I move to have the town attorney commence immediate litigation to prohibit Miami-Dade County and any and all persons from constructing Northwest 70th Street from I-75 into the town of Miami Lakes and seeking such other and further relief, including injunctive relief and damages. I've prepared a resolution in this regard. Hopefully you've had a brief moment to review the resolution. Now, just yesterday, excavation work was begun on Northwest 170th on the town's property within the town limits. And I believe Lorenzo and the manager and others took some pictures, and hopefully those are up on the screen or you have them before you so you can look at what was going on just yesterday.
Don, can you go through the slides? Okay, the first slide that's before you is the west side of Northwest 170th. This was taken late last week, and you can see there that they've already started excavation. You can see the drainage pipes that are laid out there, and the crews working on the bridge. Can you go to the next slide, Don? This was yesterday, and this is on the east side. You can see the big backhoe that was there, that was breaking up the street on our side and was doing work on the bridge. You see there Mr. Lopez and Mr. Acosta were there, as well as the manager were there. Can you please show the next slide? That's more destruction. You can see the trench that they cut into our street, and that's the backhoe. That's correct, Mr. Manager?
Yes.
Okay. The next slide? Okay, that's all the slides, and I think it's those pictures are pretty significant as to the county's movement, building on the west side and building on the east side, and more importantly, that they've actually entered onto our street and have started attempted to break up our street. When we discussed it, I think the manager can talk a little bit more about what happened when you guys showed up there and what the actions they took.
Yes. Thankfully, on routine patrol, police officers of the town that were going in that area alerted us to the fact that there was construction going on there. Once we were alerted by the police department, we went out there. We had our public works director who went out there as our first representative there, then followed by the deputy town attorney and I know the mayor showed up later. And so we made contact with the foreman of the crew that was working out there. We alerted them to the fact that they were working on property that was town of Miami property, and any public works or right-of-way work needed a permit from the town of Miami Lakes. They claimed that they had all the necessary permits. Bottom line is they stopped the work at that time. They moved to the northern half of that street, because the northern half of the street, or let's say the westbound lane, or most of that westbound lane, belongs to Dade County. But in the meantime, they had representatives from the contractor show up. They also had a representative from Lennar show up. And according to a survey that they had, all of the plans for that work were built upon a survey that was provided to them that showed the municipal boundary where the Miami Lakes becomes Dade County. to be probably about 20 yards east of the fence line. All of our survey work indicates that the western boundary was where the Florida Department of Transportation fence was, and that everything east of that on the southern half of that street belonged to the town of Miami Lakes. So we spoke to them. They actually, our surveyor was out there. We called them out there. Rowena is the surveying company. They responded. They actually physically marked exactly where their survey indicates the municipal boundaries. And Rowena, our surveyor, got on the phone with the engineer for Lennar, and they came to the conclusion that there is obviously a discrepancy or disagreement over the municipal boundary. With that, our Public Works Director gave them an order to remove the drainage structure that was already buried in the ground, plus pipes that were connected to that drainage structure. They acquiesced. They pulled all the structures out of the ground. They refilled the hole, and supposedly this morning they were going to go back out there. Yesterday they were just going to make it safe, and this morning they were going back out to re-asphalt the area to make it as they found it. I believe that's the recap.
Mr. Gastesi, do you want to add anything?
Yeah. How many are in attendance?
We have 5 council members in attendance physically, and we have 1 by telephone. Mr. Councilman Alvarez.
All right, so as I previously advised, the statute requires 3/4 majority, and I believe in our case we'd need 6, because 5 divided by 7 is only 72% or 71%. So we would need all 6 votes for this to pass and for us to be able to proceed with litigation. I believe Councilman Alvarez counts as a vote, although he doesn't count for quorum. He counts as a vote.
And Mr. Attorney, I believe you had the exact motion that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Gina has it.
I had sent it to Gina earlier, but if you need me to read it again, I certainly can.
Raul, if you can hear me, this is what I wrote. Move to have the town attorney commence immediate litigation to prohibit Miami-Dade County and any and all persons from constructing Northwest 170th Street into the town of Miami Lakes and seeking such and further relief, including injunctive relief and damages.
This is because the maker of the motion believes that an immediate danger to health, safety, or welfare of the public requires immediate action, or that significant legal rights will be compromised if a court proceeding does not take place before the provisions of the Dispute Resolution Act are complied with.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney, and we're going to start moving forward. Councilman Dieguez, if you have any motions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go ahead and move that we direct the town attorney to take all steps necessary, including the initiation of litigation for injunctive relief and damages, to enjoin the county from building out improvements on 170th Street and taking other steps to open up the bridge, because I do believe that it would impair the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the town of Miami Lakes, not only for the obvious traffic congestion concerns and everything that entails with respect to public safety, but for reasons I stated before, that I believe that now our first responders will now be servicing a wider area, and that also will detrimentally impact the town of Miami Lakes. So for that reason, I am making my motion, and I so move it.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion, council.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Lorenzo, I can barely hear Councilman Dieguez. Was his motion in line with what I read?
Yes.
Okay.
I would just add that, also that I believe that more than just being a threat to the health, safety, and general welfare of the town of Miami Lakes and our residents, I believe it would be an immediate threat to the health, safety, and welfare of our residents.
Okay.
We can add an amendment.
Lou's going to add.
I'd like to amend that there's also a legal issue, right? That we've already established that there's some violation of the law. So if we can add that to the cause, and I think the exact language,
Significant legal?
significant legal ramifications.
Right.
So there,
It has to do with health, safety, or welfare of the public, or that significant legal rights will be compromised.
all right, so there's a motion to amend the main motion.
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. We're back onto the main motion as amended. Any discussion on that, council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Collazo.
Yes.
Councilmember Diegues.
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruano.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Okay, Vice Mayor Rodriguez is not here. Mayor Sid.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Attorney, will you be filing that right now?
The steps that we're going to take, and Mr. Gastesi, unless I'm mistaken, there's a few tweaks that we need to do to this resolution based on the discussion that was had here, and a few things we're going to take. Also, once this resolution is signed and executed, I will take it back to our office, and then we will be filing today.
Before the end of the day.
Yeah, if I could add, we're going to file the lawsuit today. We have to get assigned a case number. As soon as we get assigned a case number, we will find out, we will be able to determine who the judge is. As Josh and maybe Jeffrey know, it could take a day or so, or maybe two, to get a case number. We're actually going to be calling down there to get a case number on an emergency basis. Once we get the case number, then we are filing a motion for temporary injunction that the mayor will be signing, setting forth everything we've discussed, both in this meeting and in other meetings, and everything that's going on, and asking the court to step in and stop the county from doing what they're currently doing in violation of the road transfer agreement and just all other laws. So that's essentially the next step. We expect that to be occurring, today, tomorrow, the next day. And I'll keep you advised by emails as to what's going on.
So we will be filing the injunction today. So I just want to make that clear to the public. That will be done today, before the end of the day.
We're going to be filing the complaint, and as soon as we get the case number, the injunction.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's drafted. Believe me, I've been working on it over here. Yeah, we've been working. So everything is drafted. We just needed to have this step as a condition proceeding. We file it. It'll be filed early, in a little while, and then go from there.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank the town attorney for directing the deputy town attorney to go visit actually the bridge on the other side last week. So I know Lorenzo, at the direction of Raul, actually went out and saw it for himself. I know the manager saw it for himself too. So I think that's important to get, especially in government, to get people out behind their seats and out on the streets, so to see things for themselves. So just wanted to thank you guys, the town attorney and town staff, for really being proactive and not only visiting our side, but going to see what's happening on the other side. So thank you guys for that. And anything else? Seeing none, I mean, we're moving on to the next item. So we'll alert the public once the lawsuit has been filed, which will happen by the end of the day. Now we're on to the next item, which is the manager's report.
Sir, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I explained it earlier, and it's just, it doesn't really need any action by the council. It's just, I'm required to notify the council whenever we make an adjustment within our budget. I explained it previously.
Got it. Any questions of the manager?
Yes.
Yes, Councilman Diegues.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair to the manager, do you have an idea of where the funds will be coming from, though, just out of curiosity?
We currently have, I think, 2 or 3 positions that we're in the process of filling. So at least for the first pay period, the first 2 pay periods, or maybe a couple more, there's going to be some salary savings for the year, and I'll probably draw it from there.
Okay, and just for the public's benefit, those positions that are being filled are not the ones that we've agreed to defer for purposes of the budget, such as the project specialist and all that?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, and I do think it'll be your first time going up and advocating on behalf of the town, so I think it is important, so I'm fine with it. Anything else? Seeing none? Yes, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may know, the third DCA did come up with a decision, so we're going to be asking for an executive session, and I'd like to ask for one at this time so that Gina can schedule and we can discuss in more detail. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll schedule that and we'll work on that strategy. Also, so we'll be advising the public at the moment that the lawsuit is filed, and once we get that case number, the injunction will be filed thereafter. So, thank you, council, and thank you, everybody. We're moving forward. This meeting is adjourned.